Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. 3, 2, 1. Test. 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 Hi. So, evening everybody. Hope you're all well. Let me just check that I am unmuted on all of the platforms. So I notice nobody's taken up the option of Zoom tonight. But what I'm going to do between now and whenever, I don't know, it might happen all the time, is provide a Zoom link. So if you got the email that I sent round to everybody, not from the website, so this wasn't the standard email informing you about tonight's class. This was the one that I sent out to all of the subscribers. There's a Zoom link. It's if you go to the page on the site, I've updated it with a Zoom link. But I shall also monitor Podbean at the same time. And Pandora's a podcast host. I'm on there as well. Some of these broadcasts go out on about 20 or 30 different channels. It's all mind-boggling. Evening, Helen. Good to have you with us. Evening, Caroline. Right. So I want to quickly get through. But probably best if I quickly explain where I am with the in-person classes. We'll be going back on the weeks of the 17th and the 25th of May. There's a new venue for Saturdays. The order in which I'll take bookings will be paying members of the Loving Awareness meditation course group first, followed by paying members of the meditation course group second, and then complimentary members of those groups, and then students that I know, and then everybody else. I get the feeling there's going to be a fair bit of demand, so I will have to manage all of this through Eventbrite. There's no chance of going back to drop-ins for quite a while, I believe. So that I'll leave it there with the in-person classes and so on, and move on to the matter of the day, which is pandemic burnout. Okay, so I keep my ear to the ground about developments, shall we say, in the area of mindfulness and meditation and mental health and well-being and all of the other things that I've focused on, resilience, over the course of the last sort of 7 or 8 years. And there's beginning to be a bit of a convergence of acceptance that there's something special about the unhelpful effects that have arisen as a result of this pandemic. I don't know that kind of established psychology is yet again really in a place to come to the right useful conclusions early enough. However, as luck would have it, a lot of the techniques and practices that the established psychiatry establishment has been focusing on for a while are largely the ones that are needed. And so as a result of that, what I've done is I have planned a way to focus on the things that we all need the most when we need them the most. So I don't know if you're aware of awareness days. An awareness day is so you get National Wear Your Stetson Day in Texas, and you get your National Form an Orderly Queue Day in the United Kingdom and so on. But there's also a lot of other awareness days, and you get awareness weeks and awareness months. And one of the things that I did last year was I nominated a month, can't remember when it was, Loving Awareness Month. Well, Loving Awareness Month this year is May, right? Because that's when we're going to need it as more than anything else. And for those of you that aren't aware, loving awareness is living with a sense of connection to others, other people, and a sense of connection to nature. And this isn't just, yeah, we're all mates, let's all rub along as easily as we can. And our relationship of nature with nature isn't one of, okay, I'm doing my bit, I'm tending the garden. This is more a natural human exercise where we feel that we are part of something. And that feeling of being part of something has been utterly destroyed. I blame the media totally for this over the course of the last 18 months. So there's something that I've noticed since I began teaching all of those years ago. When I began teaching, I worked with a couple of organisations. One of them was working to help disabled people to get back into the workplace, and the other one was working with addicts. And I got the sense then, and I still have the sense now, that the forces in society are working to fragment it, to split it up, to make everybody feel like they're an island. To quote Maggie Thatcher, there's no such thing as society, there's just families and people. I think that says everything about her that anybody would ever need to know. And my perspective, what I teach, everything I've learned, the teachings of all of the great masters going back for thousands of years, for all of the practices that are beneficial to humanity, things like forgiveness and compassion and collaboration and all of the ways that we can build our resilience that I teach, the people that constructed this all had the same perspective. And the perspective is that we're all deeply connected. Now, so the cure for pandemic burnout, let me just very quickly explain what it is and why it's different. We're all under stress anyway. We're square pegs in round holes. We are genetically designed to live in nature with a small group of people who all love each other. And here we are, and we're not in nature, and we're not with a small group of people who all love each other. We might be with our family, and that's about it. But that's not enough. It's just not enough. It's not enough for the primal parts of our brain to be comfortable with. And so subsequently, there's a sense that something's missing, sense that something's wrong, lack of fulfillment, stress, worry, anxiety, so on and so forth. And that's just the way of the modern world. And I've been dealing with that since day one. But the thing that the pandemic has done has made us feel even more separated. And it's done in a particularly invidious way. So what's happened as a result of lockdown is three things. There's a great deal of uncertainty. There's a great deal of fear and anxiety. So health anxiety. If you own a small business, you're living in a world of anxiety. If you're a shop owner or something like that, you put your life savings into a restaurant or whatever it might happen to be. If you think you've lost your job, if you're concerned about getting another one, if you're worried about the inevitable recession that's going to drag on for an eternity unless something really useful happens. So there's this cause of anxiety. There's uncertainty because we don't know when it's going to end or what the outcome's going to be, and so on and so forth. And then finally, there's a sense that we're having control. We don't have control over our lives. So if you're somebody, for example, who when they're stressed goes walking in the countryside, jumps in a car, drives down to the coast, spends a night in a B&B, walks along the coast in Eastbourne, I'm describing the old me. I don't actually need to do that anymore, but I am very, very rare in that I don't need that kind of. I need that kind of experience to recover. Those three things: the lack of control, the uncertainty, and a source of fear and anxiety, are classic recipe for trauma. And everybody's experiencing this to a greater or lesser extent. It doesn't really matter who you are. And then on top of that, we're separated from our fellow man. So what to do about it? Well, the answer is reconnect, and reconnect in a big way. Reconnect, re-energize our communities. Do something for your community. That's the top end. So let's start at the top end. Yeah. So what will happen is there will be a lot of information in the media and from the government. They'll say things such as, you need to connect, you need to exercise, you need to, join a charity, do something, etc., etc. And we do. That's the end result of it. But then if we look a little bit further down, it's not always necessarily possible for everybody. And there's a whole lot of reasons why that might be the case. And a lot of them are to do with the anxieties that result from the difficulty of interacting with people as a result of the experiences we're having that are causing us the stress anyway. So we've got a negative feedback loop. And so claustrophobia of the lockdown becomes the agoraphobia of people finding it difficult to reconnect. I've spoken to a few people just not looking forward to being crammed into a train full of people to go into work again, just as an example. And there's many, many other examples. So essentially, it's all very well and good saying we need to exercise, we need to connect, we need to do these things because they're the things that make us resilient, and they are. But what we actually need is two sets of things. We need a supportive, progressive process that helps us learn to cope with the friction of all of these new interactions and this new world and the difficulties that arise in it. And then we need fundamental basic practices that help us to overcome the inevitable overwhelm that will result if we don't have those practices in place. Because it's like all sorts of burnout. You put somebody in a burnout scenario, and it's just a matter of time for everyone. Some people get there first, some people get there later. So what I'm going to do today, we'll start off with the foundational practices. Foundational practices are the ones that enable you to manage difficult interactions. And then we'll work up a little bit, and we'll work towards the reconnection practices. Okay, so if you just want to get yourselves comfortable, I brought my bell out to the garden studio. So if you just want to get yourselves comfortable, notice the sound of the bell moving through time. How about this? Are we back? Okay, so let's try the bell again. Back into the present moment. Just that tiny little snippet of time moving through the sound of the bell. When the bell finishes, that tiny little moment in time and its progress continues. And all the bell is a place to find it. It's a place to find the present moment. As one of my students once said, you only need one glass to know, or even one taste, to know the ocean's salty. You only need to experience the present moment once to be able to connect to it in future. And the thing that connects to it best is something that disconnects from it. So when you have a moment of annoyance or anger or doubt or irritation or frustration, when you become aware of it, your awareness of it isn't a moment to engage the mind, it's a moment to engage the present moment. Ideally, through noticing the breath rising and falling. And the gentlest, softest, easiest way to do that is to notice the movement of the breath. And if your mind is too busy, the answer is to note the movement of the breath. By noting the movement, by saying in your mind, rising as the belly rises, falling as the belly falls, rising, falling. And as you do so, allow yourself to become aware of whatever tension there is in the body. And just let it drift away on the out breath, dissipate. If you adopt an open, balanced and relaxed posture, elbows by the side, head balanced comfortably on top of the spine. Each out breath releases a tiny bit more of tension, tiny bit more of stress. So this is the foundation of all of the most useful meditation practices. The awareness of the breath, rising and falling. And the awareness of the present moment within it. We'll just practice this for the next couple of minutes and remember to allow the body to intervene with wherever the tension is. Belly rising, belly falling. Now just letting the out breath extend a little bit. We want to do this in as natural and comfortable a way as possible. Doesn't have to be regulated by counting it, just letting it become longer than the in-breath. If you find that difficult, just make the out-breath audible. Which can be anything from the sound that the air makes when your tongue is close to the roof of your mouth or up against the teeth, or the sound that the air makes if you constrict the throat, or the wave-like shushing sound of ocean breathing. You can continue noting the breath if the mind's busy, or choose not to. No difference. Totally personal preference. So now we're just extending the breath a bit. And now checking in with the body on the out breath. Wherever the tension is. Wherever the tension is, that's where you're noticing as you breathe out. Your attention is like a flashlight, and the mind and body has chosen to bring your attention to a part of the body where there's tension. And so you're just allowing it to choose and noting that part of the body and noticing it as you breathe out with your slightly extended, naturally extended out breath. What we're doing here is relaxing, but we're relaxing without the need to relax. Just the combination of attention on that part of the body, on the out breath, that's enough to allow us to relax. Training the subconscious to intervene in the psychophysiological feedback loop that can become so difficult. And now bring your attention to the space between the eyes. Just notice it. Notice that it's there. Still aware of the breath. But this is a focus of our attention. Okay. So we all have the sense of being somewhere. There's the object. The object right now is the space between our eyes. It's what we're focusing on. And there's the subject, me, the focuser, that which is aware of it. Where am I in space? Well, it doesn't matter, because we're going to use a little easy human mind trick to place ourselves somewhere, which is quite natural for us. We want to observe the space between the eyes from a place just behind the eyes and just above them, in between. So we're the us that we are, we're kind of 2 inches behind the space between the eyes and above it. And we're just noticing that space between the eyes. And the breath just keeps doing its thing. So these places have got new age names. The space between the eyes is the third eye. It's actually an ancient description that's been acquired. And the space further back, just above and behind the eyes, I just call that the inner eye. A lot of confusion about all of this. It doesn't matter, because we're just noticing what effect this has on us. We're able to notice our minds. We're able to notice the body's breath rising and falling, whatever tension there is drifting away. Able to notice thoughts arising and subsiding. We're able to notice if our body's moved into a less relaxing, more uncomfortable position. And then we can move back, elbows by the side, head balanced comfortably on top of the spine. We may also be aware of whatever sound there is. Birdsong, traffic, airplanes, movements in the house, in the room, sound of my voice, sound of your breath, all doing the same thing that the bell did. Gently moving through time. Now notice you're not alone. Notice that there are a number of us on these various channels and platforms dotted around the world, all meditating together. So bring to mind that group, and on the out breath, just repeat in your mind, may we be well. First out breath. Second out breath, may we be happy. Third out breath, may we find peace of mind. May we be well. May we be happy. May we find peace of mind. Just repeating that on the out breath. Now extend your awareness. Just let it grow and grow and grow to include the global family of living beings to whom we are all deeply connected and also related. And again, repeat in your mind, may we be well. All of us, may we be happy. Next out breath, may we find peace of mind. May we be well. May we be happy. May we find peace of mind. just holding that thought, holding that sense of connection. Because we're going to end the meditation doesn't mean that we need to disconnect. Just leaving it there. As you come back to notice, through the movement of the sound of the bell through time, the present moment. And gently return your attention to your surroundings. So there's our little pyramid of pandemic cure. Right at the peak is a sense of connection to all beings. If you feel connected, you can never be alone. You can never be alone. You can never be isolated. You can never be separated. You can never be rejected. Yeah. So isolation becomes solitude. Nice to have. Most of us, it's just a matter of getting through the day. How do we do that? Bring your attention to the breath. Find the present moment in the breath. Get it back. If it's not possible to do when you're in the thick of it, that's quite probable. At some point, the stress and distress and anxiety and worry will diminish enough. You'll be out of the difficult situation, away from the difficult person, whatever the cause of it is, long enough for you to notice the breath and the present moment. So just that sensation is enough to bring you back from wherever your mind's drawn you, your attention, your awareness, everything into this difficult space. And of course, that's basically, in a nutshell, that's what I teach. That pyramid of practices. Everything from the intervention techniques, the things we need to do to deal with the problems of the day, the problems of the pandemic and so on, right up to the sense of connection that is the end result for so many long-term meditators. Okay, so that's it for today. So if you're not signed up, there's going to be a lot of changes. I'm probably going to keep a lot of the times that I teach the same. I'll let you know as we go along. The first thing that I've done completely is the 6-week course that starts on the 25th of May. So that's complete now. I've got an Eventbrite sign-on page for it, and so you can come along and join that. The interesting thing about it is I'll be running it for both online groups and people in person. And something that's been asked a lot, actually, by a lot of people is, I can only attend 5 or 6. What do I do about the others? And this solves that. So it's a thing called blended learning. Right, thanks, Maxine. Okay, so have a great few days, and check out the calendar that I sent out, or if not, visit meditationcourse.live and sign up. You'll be updated with all of the information on there. If you're interested in the mindfulness courses, come along to bromleymindfulness.org.uk, and it's all on there. And if you've got any questions about any of that, Thanks for whoever did one of those thumbs up things. I think I should do them back. Glad you found that useful, everybody. Bless you all. And any questions, like I said, do feel free to contact me. Take care. Yep. Thanks, Dan, Caroline, Anne, Maxine, Helen, Kel. Take care.